That should fix it, guys. Bum, 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 bum. All right, we'll restart that. Then we'll just start it from where you guys could hear us. So, welcome back to the nOw podcast. I am your host, Cody King, here as always with my tag team partner, Trevor. How you doing for a second time?
Doing good. How's everybody doing out there?
I'm living the dream. Man.
The following announcement has been paid for by the
nOw.
That was for you, Travis. Just for you. Since you asked so nicely. How's it going, Thunderbird? Ty, Travis, who else was in here that I missed? Did I miss anybody?
Mueller.
Mueller's in here. I'm going to go ahead and host myself really quick. So yeah, usually we do this on Sunday night. Last night I was not able to get back in town in time, so we are here today to bring you the week in wrestling. We do not have a retro review this week. How's it going, Will? Next week we will be having a retro review. Tonight I'll be putting up a poll, letting you guys decide what pay-per-view we're going to be reviewing. But yeah, so we'll hop right into Raw from May 17th.
Everybody's favorite.
Everybody's favorite Monday Night Raw. We all love it. We all look forward to it. So, everyone loves polls. Me too, man. Me too.
I love polls.
We love them. All right, so Monday Night Raw started out with Lashley coming to the ring, flanked by women. MVP welcomed him and played a clip from his win on Sunday at WWE Backlash. MVP claimed that Strowman and McIntyre were unable to attend the show because of their injuries. And then Lashley gave MVP permission to issue an open challenge for later that night. But then Drew McIntyre's music hits, and he went down to the ring, not injured at all. McIntyre accepts the challenge. But yeah, that didn't go as planned. Woman.
This is another one of those feuds that might be carrying on a little too long.
I completely agree. I don't think that Drew McIntyre should still be in the title picture right now. I mean, I've been saying that for months, that he's kind of overstaying his welcome. Will says he loves you, Trevor.
I know.
What a response. I love it. First match of the night, we had Elias versus AJ Styles. How did you feel about this?
It was kind of random because they were just on a team last week, I think it was, together. And now I understand they did give a little story that Elias wants him and Riker to go for the titles, but
Yeah.
it was an okay match. Not nothing that AJ, not like one of his better performances that we know he can do. And I like Elias, but
Wrath
it
for
was
NAW #1 contendership. No,
just not the best match.
I completely agree, and it ended in disqualification as Riker yanked Styles off the apron.
Cream, rise to the top. Oh yeah, I am the cream. Yeah, let me say it. Yeah.
Smiles also has a NAW #1 contendership match. Check my phone real quick. Oh, okay, yeah.
But the cream will rise to
Everybody's
the top.
going for
Oh
NAW
yeah,
number
I
one
am the
contender series
cream.
right now.
Yeah, let me say it. Yeah.
Rated as well,
Me.
hopping on the train. But yeah, Yowie Wowie. Rated with 2,000 bits. Hip hip. Hooray. Thank you, Rated. Thank you, Rated. Yeah, almost tried to go after Riker while and then Elias threw Styles into the steel steps. That's kind of how this thing ended out. Which it's nice for them to get a little feud in there. I mean, it's better than Elias and Riker not doing anything on the sidelines. Next up, we had my least favorite of the entire week of wrestling. We go back to Angel Garza versus Drew Gulak. Sorry. Last week, you guys heard that I was unhappy that Angel Garza stuck a rose up Drew Gulak. Sorry again, up his ass and kicked it on in there. This time, Angel Garza picks up the win and shoves the rose in Drew Gulak's mouth. Yeah, so that I'm just not liking how that's going whatsoever.
Story's bad, but I think if they gave him a long enough match, these two could put on a really good one because they're both good in the ring. It's leave the rose shit out of it. I mean, they did give us the line. I hope it's not the same rose as from last week, but that was pretty funny. But still, that doesn't need to be there.
No, not at all. I mean, it's just kind of an embarrassment with the whole rose thing from last week, and then kind of looping it into this week. But yeah, next we had Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton. They had a backstage altercation, and Kofi agreed to a match. Riddle wants everybody to get along, as always, but he still accompanied Randy Orton to the ring. Yeah, so Xavier Woods ended up distracting Randy Orton with the trombone, and then Kingston rolled up Randy Orton for the win. Riddle actually kept Randy Orton from attacking Kofi Kingston after the match, but he shoved Xavier Woods before leaving. So it looks like Riddle's getting a little antsy. How's it going, Lana?
This was a pretty good match. I mean, they're both good workers and not the best you could see from them because they gave him more time, but still pretty good for Raw.
No, I completely agree. Next up, we had Natty and Tamina versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. This was more leaning towards continuing Alexa Bliss versus what seems to be Shayna Baszler. That's kind of who she's been targeting, who Lily's been targeting this whole time. Lily set off some flames that blinded Reginald, and that distraction allowed Natty and Tamina to pick up the win. How'd you feel about this whole segment?
Yeah, I like that they're doing something with Bliss outside of just being with the Fiend. You know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually maybe have her wrestle. But at the tag match, you know, I'm glad Baszler and Nia didn't win them back, the titles back.
Yeah.
And I hope they're splitting them up, hopefully.
Yeah, and to me it seems like Lily is going after Shayna Baszler. It's kind of who she's been targeting. Last week with causing Shayna Baszler to have massive leg cramps and basically crippling her. Then this week, distracting her for her to pick up a loss in this match.
Yeah, I know they continued this feud some more, but I hope they're done with this one. Let
Cody, my best friend.
Natty and Tamina take on somebody else.
Yeah. Next up, we actually had a very, very good match on Monday Night Raw. mainly because they're showing Ricochet off a little bit more. We had Sheamus versus Ricochet. So backstage interview revealed that Ricochet did steal Sheamus's hat and coat, which he wore out to the ring. Sheamus eventually ends this great match with a brogue kick and picks up the win. But nonetheless, Ricochet showed what he's worth and put on a very, very good match in return.
Yeah, like you said, I'm glad Ricochet's finally getting on TV besides just sitting in the back with the jobbers or chasing the stupid 24/7 title.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that this being a very, very good match on a weekly show, I'm hoping that this leads him to be in a bigger picture down the road. That's what I'm hoping, at least, because he is showing that when he does get his chances, he is making the best out of everything he gets.
The title wasn't on the line. I think he should have won, or it should have been in like a double count out or something. Just
to
I mean,
continue that
losing
a
to
little bit.
losing to Sheamus is not anything like bad because Sheamus very good. I mean, he is the champion.
Yeah,
but,
and I don't think this ends here.
No.
I think it continues on a little bit further. Hopefully until Hell in a Cell. So next up we had Charlotte versus Asuka. Actually another decent segment here.
Yeah.
Asuka was able to pick up the win with a roll-up. This match actually lived up to an Asuka versus Charlotte match, even though it is Monday Night Raw, and we all have our opinions about Monday Night Raw and how it typically goes. But this Monday Night Raw actually had some decent matches on it. Next up, we had Damian Priest versus John Morrison. This being in a lumberjack match that did not have zombies this time. I repeat, it did not have zombies. And then we also
Thank God.
We also had one female in the lumberjack crew, Nikki Cross, which we haven't seen her in a little bit of time. So it's nice to see Nikki Cross out there, even though she was just a lumberjack for this one.
A lumberjill.
A lumberjill. That's true. That's true. I like that.
I liked Morrison's little thing beforehand. And then the zombie thing was stupid, but the whole thing that he was playing that Miz is gone. He doesn't know where he is.
Yeah.
It was funny because Morrison is really good on the mic, so he made it funny, even though the whole zombie thing was stupid.
Yeah. During this match, we did have Cedric Alexander going after Shelton Benjamin. And then we had Damian Priest suplexing Morrison onto all the lumberjacks as they were all fighting. Priest hits his finisher for the win. The lumberjacks continued to fight after.
This was another decent match, but I just want this feud over with.
This feud has lived well past its prime. And I'm hoping they're going to have a match, John Morrison and Damian Priest at Hell in a Cell, but hopefully after that, I'm sure that Damian Priest will pick up the win, and I'm sure that they'll go ahead and end that right there. Next up, we had Bobby Lashley's Open Challenge, which was opened by Kofi Kingston, who picked up the win a little bit earlier. So before this match started, MVP announced that this match would not be for the title. It would be a non-title bout. Kofi Kingston. This was a decent match. It wasn't even top 3 matches on this card, but it was a decent match. But the end of the match, McIntyre comes out and hits Lashley with MVP's cane while the ref was distracted. Kofi Kingston rolls up Bobby Lashley for the win. So Kofi Kingston does have a win over Bobby Lashley, the champion. which is causing the internet to want Kofi Mania 2.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, Kofi Kingston picks up a win over the champ, and everybody wants it one more time.
Yeah, I don't see them doing that again. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, even though I think Bobby Lashley's great as champion, but I don't think they're going to do it again.
Yeah. And that ended Monday Night Raw. Decent. We shit on Raw every week. This Monday Night Raw is actually one that I would suggest.
Watchable.
Yeah, I would suggest to watch. Skip through the commercials, but watch this Raw. This one was very good. So hopefully tonight, right now, Monday Night Raw is on. So hopefully they continue to go forward and not backward. But it's Monday Night Raw. We kind of know how that's gonna go.
And they're going back to live crowd, so maybe that'll help them.
I believe that date was July 19th. So going on to NXT on May 18th. The show started out with Zoe Stark versus Toni Storm. Toni Storm ended up beating Stark by pinfall. We did have Frankie Monette there as well, and she's going to be debuting next week, or this week, I should say. Let's see. We had a little, I don't want to say vignette because it was kind of just, it was a spa day between Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. They both had cucumbers over their eyes. Dexter Lumis was actually one of the masseuses. They were talking about how Dexter Lumis was a freak and a loser, which made him very sad. And he ended up walking away from the situation before Hartwell finds out that LeRae was the one that bought the former tag team champs flowers, and she ran off to find Dexter Lumis. How'd you feel about this?
It was all right. It was kind of funny in some parts, but
I love everything that the Way is doing, to be honest with you. I mean, that's just me. Next up, we had Cameron Grimes versus Jake Atlas. We were told last week that the $1 Million Man would be in attendance this week, and he made his he made his mark on this show.
You skipped the vignette about Karrion Kross and Balor too. Had all the people on there and Paul Heyman, Pat McAfee, and trying to hype it up.
Yeah, showing.
That was a pretty good one too.
Yeah, it was a pretty good vignette. Yeah, I mean, it should be because it's their world title. It was just kind of a promo hype video for that match. But yeah, it was good. Next up, we had Cameron Grimes versus Jake Atlas. The $1 Million Man comes out to the ring, and he distracted Cameron Grimes, which allowed Atlas to go ahead and stack Cameron Grimes up for the 3 count. Cameron Grimes runs to catch DiBiase, but the $1 Million Man got in his limo too quick and reminded Cameron Grimes that he is no $1 Million Man. I don't know where they're going with this. I don't. I was hoping that maybe they would be going to potentially have $1 Million Man kind of being a manager for Cameron Grimes, which they still could. But it seems like sort of a rivalry at this point.
Yeah, is he gonna bring somebody else and be like, "This is the true $1 Million Man now," or is he gonna eventually become his mentor? Oh, that'd be pretty good.
Bring his son back.
He can come out with the $1 Million belt.
He could. I wouldn't mind that. Next up, we had Killian Dane versus Alexander Wolf. Yeah. After this match, Imperium lays out Wolf, kicking him out. And not only do we now know that he got kicked out of Imperium, he also got kicked out of WWE with the recent cuts the day after. So on Thursday, NXT did make their round of cuts. Alexander Wolf was probably the most notable name on there. Outside of one of the horsewomen of MMA, who also got the boot.
Yeah, but those two weren't good. Last I seen them anyway. They may have improved since then, but neither one of them.
Alexander Wolf's pretty good.
No, I meant the two other horsewomen. I liked Wolf.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So the four horsewomen: Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, Marina Shafir, which is Roger Strong's wife. That's probably the reason she did not get cut. And then Jessica. Why am I blanking on her last name? She's
Duke, I think.
Cut. Yeah, Jessamine Duke. And she's the one that got the boot. Which is kind of a shame for one reason, really, and it's really not wrestling related. But I don't know if you watch Up, Up, Down, Down, but she is a key member of the faction Bree Start, which stands for Best Roommates Ever, with Mia Yim, Dakota Kai, and somebody else, and I'm blanking on the name. But I'm kind of curious to see if they're going to be able to keep her on. Up, Up, Down, Down, because Xavier Woods did tweet out kind of unhappy about this cut here.
This match wasn't a match, really. It was over quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it was over quickly, but the biggest point of this whole match is really
Wolf's
Alexander
gone.
Wolf getting kicked out of Imperium and then finding out a day later that he went ahead and got kicked out of NXT as well.
You think Dane is going to join Imperium?
Possibly. I mean, he is.
Or in a huge swerve, Drake Maverick?
Jake Maverick joining?
Yeah.
Let's not have that. But let's have Killian Dane go back to being a serious threat. I did watch. I watched Takeover New Orleans, where they had this 7-man ladder match to crown the first ever North American champion, and it just reminded me of how good Killian Dane actually is. I kind of forgot.
Is that when he was Insanity?
Yes. And then also I watched the first returning War Games, so it was Sanity versus Undisputed Era, and again, Killian Dane is extremely good and a serious threat, but he kind of got a little push in NXT probably about a year ago, but really hasn't gone anywhere since.
Sanity was so hot, and then went to the main roster and just nothing. Crash and burn.
Yeah, Sanity got the shit out of the stick there. Next up, we had Legado del Fantasma versus Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. Grizzled young veterans ended up attacking Ciampa on the apron, and that set up Legado del Fantasma to go ahead and pick up the win by pinfall, which was actually a pretty decent match up until the end.
Yeah, I wanted Ciampa and Thatcher to win, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all would have liked that.
Them losing this way, at least, it doesn't make them look weak. So, I guess that's the best you can say about the finish.
Yeah. Next up, we had Bobby Fish calling out Pete Dunne demanding a match for next week to basically pay for the damage that he did to his elbow in War Games. We had another video package for Diamond Mine, which I still really don't know who that is. I haven't even seen leaks on who it is. But besides People saying it could potentially be Brock Lesnar Jr. Other than that, I have no idea who it could be. Next match we had was Saray versus Aaliyah. Saray picked up the win by pinfall in a less than great match. I didn't really enjoy this match too much.
No. Which is weird because NXT usually does have pretty good matches, even on ones you don't really care about yet.
Yeah. Next up, we had Hit Rose, Ashanti, The Adonis, and Top Dollar versus Tony Nese and Arya Davari. They're doing my boy Tony Nese wrong. This was a squash match. Hit Row picks up the win.
Yeah, it's another. And it was squash, but.
Hello, my wife. Hello. And then for the main event, we had the North American Championship match between Johnny Gargano and Bronson Reed. A very good match. This is the one match. If you wanted to watch anything from this week, go back and watch this match. Bronson Reed does pick up the win, and he is now the new NXT North American Champion. There's a lot to talk about in this match, all the different things that happen. But in short, this was just a very, very, very good match, and I highly suggest you guys go back and watch this specific match. How'd you feel about it?
Oh yeah, this one was really good. I loved all the interference from
Austin Theory.
Yeah. Just trying, like the first time when Gargano tried to escape through the door, I think why didn't Austin Theory grab his hands and pull him out? But then later on, he did actually grab his hands and try to pull him out.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so they were just saving that spot for later. But yeah, the interference, even though he never got into the cage. I'm like, there's no DQ. Why didn't you just slide into the cage and start beating his ass? But you know, he did a lot of stuff on the outside, and Reed picking up the win was cool, and the title.
Yeah, and it was kind of a higher colossal slam than he normally does, or it looked more impressive because of the cage, I guess. If we were to jump off the cage, that would have been insane. That would have made my year. But he probably would have killed Johnny Gargano, to be honest. But that ended NXT with Bronson Reed being your new North American Champion. Big spots in the match. There was a lot of big spots. There was a lot of spots in general. That's why we are keeping it a little short on that. But definitely, if you guys have not seen that match, that is my match of the week. So go back and watch that match. Actually, it's my number 2 on match of the week. But I will talk about that after I talk about everything else. Next up, we had Wednesday, May 19th. We had everybody's favorite show, AEW. Haha. We opened up with Christian Cage versus Matt Sydal. This kind of reminded me how good Matt Sydal actually was. This was a pretty good match. Not saying he didn't have a good match a couple weeks ago against Kenny Omega. But Christian Cage, again, has not missed a beat whatsoever. Yeah, he's looking as good as he's always been. Then we had Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus The Acclaimed. It did start with Matt Caster freestyling on the two, mainly Jon Moxley, and making a reference towards Jon Moxley's wife, Renee Paquette, and her Oral Sessions podcast. Moxley and Kingston ended up picking up the win, which honestly I didn't think they should have picked up the win here. I thought this is the match they probably should have lost, but I do get that they are kind of they're being pushed to the tag team titles. But I think the Acclaimed have been doing very, very well. I would like to see a push from them in the near future as well. So
I saw stuff online saying Moxley was really mad about that oral session. And I'm like, there's no way he said that without getting it cleared from Moxley first.
yeah, I
And
mean,
Moxley was probably playing his character, being mad about it, and then he probably laughed about it afterward,
yeah,
as
and
himself.
Tony Khan 100% did know because he was on Busted Open Radio to announce that AEW is moving to TBS, which is going to be easier for a lot of people to watch since it is a basic cable TV channel. So, those of you that don't have TNT that possibly have TBS, AEW will be moving, and then I believe they're going to have a third hour on Fridays. Am I wrong by that?
No, that's the way I read it too.
They're gonna have a 1 hour, which would be the third hour of Dynamite. They will have it competing with SmackDown. So that's
No, it'll start after SmackDown.
will it?
SmackDown, it starts at 10.
Interesting.
That's the way I read it anyway.
Travis, I did hear that they were changing the name of the TNT title, but it was not a cable. I can't remember the name. I could look it up, but it was not a cable company's or whatever, a network's name in front of it. Next up, we had Sheeta versus Rebel. Rebel was accompanied by Dr. Britt Baker. Sheeta ended up picking up the win, as we kind of assumed. But after the match, Britt Baker attacked Sheeta and delivered a curb stomp to Sheeta onto the women's title.
Yeah, this one, you knew Sheeta was going to win.
Yeah,
Build
it was
up
either
there.
Sheeta was going to win or it was going to be a disqualification to kind of push Britt Baker and Sheeta's feud. But I
Sheeta's
enjoyed
been-
what they actually did a little bit more, having Baker attack after and delivering a curb stomp. Yes,
Sheeta's been champ for a year.
A Seth Rollins style curb stomp. Yes. Onto her championship, which after that, Britt Baker did pick up the title and pose with it. After this, we went over to a video of Kenny Omega and Don Callis going up to Orange Cassidy with an agreement to give up his opportunity at Double or Nothing, saying that he can have a match later down the line, one-on-one. They handed the contract to Orange Cassidy, and he slowly tore it. They said that they knew he was going to do that. And then they kind of just explained to him more that if a basic power bomb injured him, what would a one-winged angel do to him? It would put him out for years or his life. And they did give him another contract. They put it under his arm for him to review and get back to them.
This was pretty good. It was pretty funny the way he did tore it up slowly, and then
he went to tear it up a second time, and they're like, no, we get your point.
I think he is just going to be the one to take the pinfall, though. I don't think there's any way they're taking the belt off Omega.
No, and the last person to beat Kenny Omega in one-on-one competition was Pac. So that's just an interesting tidbit there. Next up, we had a promo from the Inner Circle. Very, very good promo once again. The Inner Circle has accepted the match of a Stadium Stampede. So they will be having that at Double or Nothing. So we'll have Stadium Stampede number 2. Jericho accepted the match, ending with saying, "We're going to dance all over your face and piss all over your grave." Another great segment from the Inner Circle.
I mean, the Inner Circle delivers always. So
Always.
And
Yes. The first Stadium Stampede was great.
Yeah, this one should be just as good.
Yeah, hopefully it lives up to it. Because I mean, last time we did have Hangman Adam Page, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, which we're not going to have this time.
And Matt Hardy.
Next up, we had the NWA Women's Championship match. Serena Deeb versus Red Velvet. Serena Deeb ends up picking up the win. But this was interesting to me because just last week we talked about how Thunder Rosa is going to have a match, and if she loses, she will never be allowed on AEW again. Which my first thought was, okay, NWA's pulling their talent. But this week we have the NWA Women's Championship being defended against AEW talent once again. So it's interesting whether NWA is still in or they're out, but right now it seems like they're back in.
I kind of wanted to see Red Velvet take the title here. It would have been like kind of a surprise there.
Absolutely. Next up, we had Anthony Ogogo versus Austin Gunn. Ogogo defeated Gunn by referee stoppage. Once again, Anthony Ogogo is the monster. And he's going to be having a match with Cody Rhodes at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knew Ogogo was winning this.
Yeah, in a squash match.
They're not going to have him lose to Gunn on the way to the Cody Rhodes match.
Absolutely not. After we went to commercial, then came back with the new TNT champion, Miro. He made his way to the ring and cut a promo about beating Darby Allin and winning the title. Lance Archer interrupted and promised to make the new champion his Bulgarian bitch at Double or Nothing. The promo ended with Miro taking some verbal shots at Lance Archer and standing tall. Very good segment. Very good segment.
Love this. The whole Miro and Archer promo was great, and him taking shots at him, having Jake Roberts hold him back. He's like, "You're not a real monster. No, nobody would hold me back."
Yeah,
and then
I'm
making references to DDP yoga.
Yes, Ty, Bulgarian bitch, not Bulgarian brute. And then in the main event, we had the AEW Tag Team Championships on the line. We all knew this was going to happen, but it was going to be, is this going to be a good match? Which it was. The Young Bucks versus the Varsity Blondes. For those of you that don't know who the Varsity Blondes is, it's Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. After this match, Moxley and Kingston come out and attack the Bucks, and they ended up choking them out to close the show. And a funny part of this at the end, Kingston and Moxley stole the Young Bucks' shoes because they're always wearing expensive shoes out to the ring, so they did get jacked of their shoes.
This is great. AEW does tag teams better than anybody.
Absolutely.
I'd say NXT is pretty good too, but I think AEW is still better with the tag team division.
Yeah, I agree. I think AEW focuses on tag teams more than singles. I think that's why if you look back at the past couple pay-per-views, the tag team championship match has gone longer than the world title match. And I think that's for a reason of the Young Bucks being EVPs as well, and really wanting to showcase tag team wrestling. And FTR being in the back and coming from a place where they felt disrespected, being in a tag team, and feeling like tag teams weren't getting respect, being able to voice their opinion in AEW and actually make AEW a place where tag teams can flourish.
I actually let tag teams main event pay-per-views.
Absolutely, and I love it. But that closed out AEW. Next up, we had this previous Friday, we had SmackDown on May 21st. So another in-ring promo kicks off the show. Sonya Deville, she announced that in the beginning in July, the company returns to the road. They will be leaving the Thunderdome, and they will be starting their trip in Houston. She introduced all of the SmackDown champions, including Apollo Crews, who vowed to retain his championship in the night's main event. From there, DeVille introduced Roman Reigns, only for Paul Heyman to arrive and remind fans that the Tribal Chief is a champion, whereas the rest of the men and women on the stage are simply title holders, which I thought was great. Bayley interrupts, and she takes exception to Natty and Tamina as tag team champions. She gives props to Apollo Crews and Aziz, and she also claims that Bianca Belair cheated to win at WrestleMania Backlash, which she goes face to face. I'm tripping over my words here. Bianca Belair ended up going face to face with Bayley. Bayley backs off, and then Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax attack all of them out of nowhere. Natty and Sabina make the save, setting up to be a tag team match. A 6-woman tag team match, I might add.
Yeah, was Teddy Long back?
I think
I'm going to
so.
set up a tag team match for you, player.
The women have been doing so many big tag team matches. Gravity and most of the founders of AEW were all supportive of factions and tags. Yeah, and I mean, that's why you see so many factions and good tag teams being showcased, is because they actually respect tag teams over there.
That opening segment was but I did like Paul Heyman coming out and be like, no, Roman's not doing this.
That I liked.
Yeah, Roman and Paul, I mean, they're carrying SmackDown. I mean, there's other good parts of SmackDown, but they're
carrying WWE.
Yeah, just he's not going to do this on your terms. He's going to have his own thing later on.
Yeah. But that followed with the 6-woman tag team match, which Baszler, Jackson, Bayley picked up the win. That's pretty much all there is to talk about there. It was just a decent match. Next up, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Baron Corbin. Shinsuke Nakamura came out to a face that we see in NXT every now and then. We really haven't seen him in probably about a year and a half, to be honest with you. But Rick Boogs played Nakamura's entrance to the ring, absolutely shredding on the electric guitar. And it was him that did it, so I'm impressed. Nakamura ends up beating Baron Corbin in this match with a roll-up. Yes. You can't wait for Stadium Stampede 2. The first one was... I watched the first one live, and it was incredible. Yeah. Then we had the champion parade of Roman Reigns. How'd you feel about this?
Again, it was Roman and Paul. They're great. And then you had the whole Rollins coming out there, jumping Cesaro. And
once again.
And of course his suit was great with all the skulls on it.
Always having great suits. Seth's always dripping. And then we had Dominic Mysterio versus Robert Roode. We had Dominic picking up a win with a 619 and a frog splash in a less than great match.
Yeah, this makes Roode look so bad because he lost, and it wasn't a long match. It was very short. And I don't mind Dominic getting the win, but there should have been a reason, like Ziggler hit him instead of Dominic or something.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree.
Roode is too good to just lose like that and that quickly too.
Yeah, and like I said, I was watching some old takeovers from when he was the champ and just seeing how good he was once again. Um, it's a shame. It's a shame of where he's at right now in his career. But in the main event, we had fatal four-way match for the Intercontinental Championship. Apollo Crews, Big E, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, um, which we got to see the. I guess we can call it a debut of the new Aleister Black. I don't want to say debut, but we saw Aleister Black, and it seems like his target right now is Big E, which I don't mind. I feel like these two can put on a great match. He did come out and hit Big E with a black mass, which Apollo Crews went ahead and pinned off of that black mass for the win. And Aleister Black went off the air, or the show went off the air with Aleister Black smiling, very evil like. I don't know how I feel about the one contact. I think it is it's an homage to Seth Rollins gouging his eye out, right? Or am I mistaken?
Probably. They're at least acknowledging, but I mean, Ray doesn't have that, and his
Ray
eye
does
popped
not have
out.
it. Yeah, Ray's eye completely popped out. They had an eye for an eye match. Um, but yeah, at least he's selling it. You know, he's selling that he got his eye gouged out, and that's why he was off TV. He had one contact in that was kind of all white, which is a black people. No, the match was very, very good. Um, it was very fast paced, high impact, just how we like it. And then being able to see Aleister Black, who looked great, absolutely great. He shredded. He definitely got in Vince McMahon shape. How Vince McMahon wants to see his wrestlers. A
Yeah,
couple more tattoos on him as well.
yeah, this was a good match. I mean, everybody in there is good. Cruz would be like probably the worst of the three or four. I mean, but he's still very good.
Even my 5-year-old asked why Ray had his eye back again. Yeah, they never really sold it whatsoever. Um, Will said, "Not gonna lie, I marked out for Black." I think I didn't mark out for Black because we've been seeing him in vignettes every single week for the past 5 weeks. That's the only reason I didn't really mark out. It was nice to see him in action once again. Um,
Let-
but yeah,
Let's just hope they use him better this time.
what was that?
I said, let's just hope they use him better than they did last time. He was.
I think
Uh,
I think Vince will see him the way that we all see him now that I mean, before he wasn't in amazing shape, you know, but he wasn't completely out of shape either. But this is also the reason why Keith Lee's off TV. Keith Lee got sent home to lose weight. Um, so I mean, Vince has his type.
It's this stupid they sent Keith Lee home for that. That man can move, and he's a great wrestler.
Absolutely, absolutely. Give me 1 second.
I love Keith Lee. I if he comes back and he's really in shape and they want to push him, great. But he was fine the way he was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I enjoyed seeing Aleister Black again. Like you said, hopefully they push him properly this time, and I think that they will. He looks impressive. He moves impressive as always. So let's get him back in the ring on a regular basis. Um, let's get it. Let's get his re-debut. Let's just start over. Will, what is your breaking news out of New Japan? It probably has to do with the world title. Um, but yeah, that ended our week in wrestling. Besides one thing I wanted to pick up on, NXT UK. Did you watch NXT UK at all?
No,
There's only one part that I really wanted to kind of pinpoint on. My match of the week this week is A-Kid versus Tyler Bate in the main event of NXT UK for the Heritage Cup. Which, side note, I absolutely love the fact that they don't have a mid card title. They have they don't have a mid card belt. They have a mid card championship trophy. I don't know why, but I heavily enjoy that. But Tyler Bate ends up picking up the win and taking the Heritage Cup away from A-Kid in a great match. Tyler Bate's impressive every single time he's in the ring, but this is just another example. Both these guys are very good. Please go back and watch NXT UK. It is on Peacock. You can see that match. So please do. Please do. Very, very good match. But yeah.
We also had Velveteen Dream released this week.
Yes, that is our. Well, I don't see what that says. That's a lot. I would have to go on my phone to see that.
He broke his silence today too, and addressed some of the issues.
Are you saying Ospreay doesn't have to vacate? Well,
No,
I mean,
But the cream.
I think he's saying he
rise to the
vacated
top.
it even
Oh,
though
yeah.
New
I
Japan
am the
didn't want him
cream.
to.
Yeah, let me say it. Yeah.
oh.
Berated. We
So
want
And
to
then
hope
he's
you
going-
want him
rematch.
to vacate.
And then he's rumored to go to NXT UK. I don't
He's not.
think
He's not.
no, he didn't want to go to WWE.
He's voiced out many, many times over the years that he will never go to WWE. He will never, ever go to America to wrestle. If he goes to NXT UK, he will not have a choice. He will be contractually obligated to go over whenever the WWE wants him. He is... Okay, he may. I'm not him, so I can't say he won't ever do it. But the way he's talked over the past few years, even as recently as 6 months ago, he is heavily against WWE. He is heavily against US-based wrestling. He wants to stay in New Japan. He has his own wrestling promotion as well. He does have his... You typed it word for word. What source did you get that from, though? He does have his own wrestling promotion in the UK. If he did go to WWE, he would not be able to have his own wrestling promotion. He would have to sign it over and sell it to somebody else. I don't see him doing that realistically. And he may. Like I said, I'm not him. I'm not buddy with him. I am a big fan. He's my favorite wrestler on the planet. But yeah, he's just... I really don't think that he's going to go ahead and go over after everything he's said over the past couple of years about NXT and WWE. It's just not a fit for him. Oh.
You never know, because what if Vince just threw like a ridiculous amount of money at him?
Yeah, like
He
I
couldn't
said,
say no.
you never know. And if they agree to the voices of wrestling, I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. NXT UK gets less views than New Japan. And that's just the fact. Even in the United States, if you look at United States fans alone, New Japan gets viewed way more than NXT UK. I love NXT UK. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see him there, mainly because... Okay. Mainly because that's an easier source to go ahead and watch. But yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it happening. If it happens, it happens. I would love it, but I just don't see it.
As Ted DiBiase says, everybody has a price.
Yeah, and maybe if they give him and B. Priestley a contract, I know he wants to stay around his wife as well. So maybe. But but yeah, who knows? But moving on, yes, as you touched on a little bit, Velveteen Dream did get released on Saturday. So he survived the cuts on Thursday, but on Saturday it was announced that he had been released. Um, I don't know what I can and can't say on this subject. I think it was very unfair of him to get cut. So we all know about the Me Too movement. That was a big thing. A lot of people did get spoken out upon. Some of them were guilty. Some of them were innocent. There was almost every company that had people involved did do an intense investigation, including WWE on all their talent, including Austin Theory, who is back on TV, and nobody's saying a word. The problem is Velveteen Dream has spoken out today, and he believes because of his character being a egotistical kind of sexual fiend, sexual deviant. He believes that the fans are pushing him harder. So Me Too movement was 8 months ago. I did my research. It was 8 months ago when he first got announced. They had an investigation right after that. For 2 months, Velveteen Dream was off of television. The investigations wrapped up and he was deemed innocent, which he did talk about today in his statement. He talked about the conversations and everything like that. But yeah, after 2 months, he was thrown back to NXT, shown on TV once again. He attacked the Undisputed Era, had a short feud with Tommaso Ciampa, and then he was never seen again because of the fans. Wrestling fans really harped on him very hard. They kind of shit all over NXT and WWE for allowing this man to wrestle still, even though he was deemed innocent, just like Austin Theory. But because of that, they ended up taking him back off of television, and he's been sitting for the past 5 months. And the reason he's cut is most likely because they don't want to get shit on for putting him back on TV, and then them holding him is he's just a paycheck that's sitting backstage not doing anything. So it was really the fans. The fans kind of ruined a 23-year-old, maybe 24. Ruined his career in WWE. I'm sure he could go somewhere else. He could go to AEW, I'm sure. AEW did have their fair amount of talent that also got linked onto the Me Too movement, like Sammy Guevara, who was guilty. He was guilty. But they did make him go to sensitivity training and everything like that. And he did have a meet-up conversation with Sasha Banks because that's who he said words about that I will not say here. But yeah, I mean the whole industry was going through some stuff at that time. Will Ospreay also got hit on it, but he was deemed innocent as well. So I mean, we're in this world where it's guilty until proven innocent, and even when somebody like Velveteen Dream, who was innocent, he still got kind of outcasted because of fans. So it is a shame. I wish him the best. Hopefully he does stay in a major company, and if he wants to come back to WWE, which I know he does, he'll go ahead and make his way back in due time. You'll say this: AEW handled that situation with Sammy very, very well. Yeah. I mean, they did sensitivity training, made him talk to Sasha Banks about it, made sure Sasha Banks was okay with him continuing to work for the company. If she said no, he would have lost his job. But she said that, yes, they are now friends. and she doesn't hold anything against Sammy. So good on both of them, really. But unfortunately, Velveteen Dream is now out of a job. He is on a 90-day no-compete clause. So the next time we would potentially see him is beginning of September. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see in due time.
It just sucks because Dream was a great character, and he said the Dream is dead. He said Patrick Clark's gonna go on, but the Dream character is dead.
Yeah, which that's the biggest shame of all of this. Velveteen Dream, the character, was such a great on-air character. So many great moments of Velveteen Dream, and now to know he is gone, and we'll get Patrick Clark, the tough enough character that we once saw, the cocky tough enough character at the age of 16 who lied about his age, to get onto the show. I mean, he's such a good worker. I'm sure he'll be able to find another character that fits him well. But yeah, Velveteen Dream was such a great character that hopefully he does kind of go back on this. I know when his statement came out this morning, he spoke a lot from the heart, and I think it was a lot of anger and disappointment in the whole situation of him losing his job and potentially his career over his innocence. But yeah, it's a shame in general. But I do wish him the best of luck in the future, and hopefully we do see him in September as a new character. Maybe even as Velveteen Dream, but somewhere else. That would be nice.
Well, I'm sure WWE owns the name Velveteen Dream anyway, so.
Satin
But a
Nightmare.
character like that.
Satin Nightmare. Just change it up a little bit. Yeah, that's what I've been calling him. I saw it was one of those Is All Elite pictures, and it said Satin Dream is All Elite. I thought it was funny. Or Satin Nightmare is All Elite. But yeah, that is the week in wrestling. I'm sorry we kind of ended it on a down note. But yeah, I really have nothing else. We do have Double or Nothing this Sunday, so we'll be doing the podcast on Monday most likely. Moxley is crying in the background. He's very, very sad about the situation. I know. He's just sad that he's in his cage right now and everybody else is upstairs. But yeah, thank you guys for coming out. Like I said, Double or Nothing is on Sunday, so we'll most likely be back here on Monday. If there is any updates or anything like that, we will keep you guys informed. I'm still going to put up the poll for a retro review. We'll go ahead and keep that up for 2 weeks, and whatever you guys want us to review, we'll go ahead and review. So I'm gonna put some good options up there and let you guys choose on that. But Trevor, any final words?
Just hope Dream lands somewhere and can continue to have a great career.
Travis, I think they did it on this weekend because of the holiday. I think it's going to be a Memorial Day tradition. I think that's what they're going to shoot for.
The card looks great too.
The card looks
can't
amazing. Yeah, so, and please, if you're going to watch it, pay for it. It's not expensive. It's not. It's fairly cheap. So if you are going to watch it, Ty, if you're going to watch it, you're probably going to come over to my house, so we'll split on it. But yeah, pay the little bit of money to watch it. Don't go to one of those websites and go ahead and just take the content. If you're gonna support a company, support the company, please. But yeah,
If you want to talk about it while it's happening, we have a Discord chat for pay-per-views spoilers. So come and chat with people.
yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
real active, but people do talk in there.
Absolutely, and just because you said that, I'll definitely be sure to be in that chat on Sunday during the pay-per-view. For anybody that wants to talk, if somebody wants to hit !Discord so that link can pop up, join that Discord. The spoiler chat will be active on Sunday, as I will make it active even if I'm talking to myself. But for now, thank you guys for coming out. Can we talk about how sexy you are in my peach shirt? Thank you. Yeah. For this week, this has been your nOw podcast. We will see you next week. Good night.
Be sure to check out the podcast tomorrow with Travis and it's iRob, I believe, right? And damn it, Herman.
Yes.
They're reviewing Street Fighter. Yeah,
and then Wednesday, I believe Gravity is going ahead and doing. He's finishing up Resident Evil. Thursday we have Devin's pay-per-view show. Friday and Saturday are open right now. I will be streaming one of those days. I will post on the page the day I am going to stream. It's going to be kind of last minute because I don't know what I'm doing yet this weekend, but I will figure it out. Yeah. So, thank you guys very much for showing up once again. I appreciate it very much. Trevor appreciates it very much. Everybody at DNA appreciates it very much. But until next time, good night, everybody.
The following announcement has
Good
been
night,
paid
guys.
for by the...